Thank you, Mario. Thank you, colleagues. I think you can allow me. This is a European project. It's Mario. Claudio Cornelli, we give him 10 points. That's not Eurovision, obviously. Thank you, colleagues. Hello. Good afternoon. Yes, it is the COVID era. And we can say that Malta has also suffered, let's say, in a lot of ways, the common repercussions of this pandemic. And yes, it has changed a lot the scenario. We start with quickly what is banking and the financial service in general. It has been termed as a critical service, which meant that obviously offices needed to be remain open, some compared to other businesses, and business had to continue. So we had a lot of the business continuity issues within the sector. But we can also say that COVID accelerated digitalization. It accelerated the process. It accelerated the buzzword at the moment, the digital transformation, which a lot of the companies in the sector are going through. Also a result of the still regulatory measures being implemented bit by bit, some ad hoc, some planned before. So we had everything going at the same time. And I assume that it has also happened in our colleague countries, because this process is something which definitely hits and impacts directly. So we had, let's say, partly a crisis, but at the same time, acceleration again of a digitalized process, but at the same time, emerging out of all this is the more relevant and the more obvious flexible approach to work, which obviously, as you know, also on everybody's, let's say, agenda, remote working. So these were, in a nutshell, at the same time, the first impact in some way, the business-wise, directly. Well, what I can say is that MUBE, probably even with the smaller unions, we focused on the health issue. So our slogan was health first, people first, prevention better than cure. So obviously we had these issues, especially looking at what the health authorities were, let's say, presenting, and also making sure we had a lot actually of requests. Don't forget, it is a small community, and the people know each other, and the families are connected. So it is a densely populated islands, two populated islands. So you still have to be very, very, very careful. I have to say, we learned a lot, and we followed a lot what was happening in Italy. So I say thank you, Italy, for this, because we took that also as a benchmark on what the Italian colleagues were doing. And again, thank you for that. But again, we immediately went for flexibility, and we had discussions with most major banks on all this, where we did not necessarily need to have. We presented brief reports, which obviously our requests on what kind of measures would have been best suited to implement to ensure, again, safety first before anything else. But that also obviously we had issues going. Don't forget that business was slowing down. The pressure was there. I must admit that initially that might have been some difficulty, but then when let's say the digital access was much more, let's say, was much more given to our members, it was very clear that remote working became probably the most popular, obviously, process of them all. And it was very clear that there was no other option for a lot of reasons. Again, as I said, once it is dense, once people are mostly familiar with each other in a lot of ways, it was much more easier to contract a virus and to spread the virus along. we started actually slowly, but then we got, I think, doing very well. Most of the banks responded very, very, very well. If I had to say whether there was performance issues or not, there was not that much focus initially. Maybe it's much more recently than before that. We signed as a significant conclusion to some of the discussions. We signed an agreement. We are saying it is the first part of an agreement on remote working. Obviously, with probably the bank which is mostly prepared and anticipates these kind of situations, which is HSBC. We have done that in August. I have to say that big banks have done a lot to protect the employees, and I have to say that we are happy overall with what they tried. Obviously, we're doing to make sure that safety comes first. What MUB did also during this time, we also officially and publicly requested banks, obviously, and the government also to accept not opening on Saturdays here, the branches and the networks, the frontliners, because the focus was on frontliners. So we had the issues where it was okay with those working back office, but it was not that okay in the end with the frontliners, which is still an issue. Although a lot was being done, and I can say the simple things, the perspex, the all protective measures, the one by one, the appointment by customer, and things like that. So we are doing. Did we have any issues as regards to monetary issues? Not that we had big issues on that. Probably we'll get to know about all these financial aspects now, because now we're in 2021, and obviously you come to reflect, and any increases and any bonuses are paid in 2021 on year 2020. So that is where obviously we are now focusing also to make sure that the people do not suffer the consequence of COVID, irrespective of the businesses may be not doing the best they would have done if COVID was not there. The scenario has changed, I would say, because COVID has shown that digitalization is also important to move forward irrespective of COVID. And this is now the work we are focused on is the post-COVID, and to make sure that the companies where we are represented and management do take a cautious approach on this. And this is our position at this moment in time. Overall, the service has been going. Branches have been closed. Some of the branches have been closed. And the reason is easy, is to be more in a position for the business to get a hybrid approach. We've talked about this and we've met in online conferences, and it was also mentioned before. The hybrid approach seems to be probably the best option. It still has to develop. We also still need to discuss on any financial support to those working in remote working. We still have not gone to discussion. But at the same time, parallelly, at national level, we definitely have managed to push the agenda, and remote working and flexibility are on top of the agenda. Obviously, we're looking for legislation, and it seems that government is ready to legislate the basic framework for flexible arrangements and remote working. And that should be hopefully done later on this year. Again, I would say that the hybrid approach of remote working, where working practices is concerned, seems to now be seen as favorable, but again, we still need to discuss. The financial aspect of the workers, we obviously, up to now, we have not had any shocks. Maybe some, let's say, discounted bonuses when it comes to the overall performance. But again, we're still insisting that people should not suffer any consequence because of COVID. One of the complaints we have is that we should have been consulted better by the health authorities and directly with on the health, let's say, on the aspect, the strategy aspect of COVID, because it would have been much better for us to understand the situation. But I can't say that much anymore because as we speak, I think it is stable. The business is going normal, but there is always the worry of the front line. That is the latest issue we have, and this is the most recent. Vaccination has kicked in. Frontliners are being given vaccination, and what we're saying is, if the state has actually confirmed that banking, financial sector is a critical service. If other people in critical services offering critical service are giving vaccination, at least those frontliners who are in contact with people on a regular basis, which mostly is the branch network and connected offices to those branch network, they should also be on the list to be given vaccination as soon as it is made available. For the rest, I think I can stop now. I can stop here, but hope that we will be able to update later on. And thank you and for the very good conference. Thank you, Mario and Fiza.